We are nearly there, ladies and gentlemen. The announcements are coming thick and fast for WrestleMania 40, and I have one right here that I do want to talk about that is, let's just say, spicy? Hello and welcome to FCTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about WrestleMania 40, WWE Raw, and the match that was announced last night. The match between Gunther and Sami Zayn. But before we dive into that, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts on the match down below and what you would like to see as I discuss this topic. The topic of the Intercontinental Championship. So Gunther has had this belt for a very long time. Very long time. He has broken records, he has broken streaks, he has broken bodies, and now his challenger is Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn winning a tremendous gauntlet on last night's Raw, defeating Chad Gable in the final stretch, which we'll get to in a little bit, to become the number one contender. He will be facing Gunther at WrestleMania, and I want to talk about the decision, and I want to talk about whether Sami should win. So we'll start off with the decision. The decision itself, I am sort of here for, sort of not. I really wanted Chad Gable to win this, more so than Sami Zayn. I feel like Chad has that inbuilt story with Gunther, and that could just be made magic. And I think the story of Sami Zayn missing WrestleMania this year, having main evented last year, is quite an interesting character study. It's quite an interesting character piece that could be, picked apart and dissected in terms of Sami Zayn working his way back up the card to get to WrestleMania 41. I think there was a lot of legs in that, in Sami missing it. I do love Sami, but I think the storyline itself worked that way. The match. I think the match between Gunther and Sami Zayn is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner because every match that Gunther puts on is amazing and brilliant. And I think they're going to tell something really special on the WrestleMania stage. However, should Sami Zayn win? That's the question in this video. Should Sami Zayn win? I think it was a good decision to have him win the gauntlet. I think that's fine. High profile match at WrestleMania, that's fine. Sami Zayn should not win this match. Gunther should retain the Intercontinental Championship, and I will tell you why. That previous thought that I had about missing WrestleMania and Sami Zayn's journey, that can be told with him winning the big one at last year's WrestleMania and losing at the next one. So you can sort of tell that story here and give Sami that crisis of confidence. Maybe he feels like he needs Kevin Owens. Maybe he feels like he needs people around him. There's a lot of stuff that can be done with Sami Zayn's story in this regard. I don't think there's been enough interaction between Gunther and Sami Zayn to justify this win and justify Sami ending this historic run that Gunther is on. I think he's great at putting on an incredible match. He will put on a brilliant spectacle at WrestleMania, but I don't think there's character justification for him to be the one to end this reign, which is a problem that WWE have across the board. They have long reigns here, there, and everywhere, whether it be in the women's division, whether it be Roman Reigns' run, whether it now be Seth's run that's gone on for quite a while, of building up these people who feel like not credible, but feel like they are justified in winning the belts. I feel like they've done that now. They've done that for Cody. They've done that for Drew. I think Rhea's retaining at WrestleMania, and I feel like Gunther should retain as well. But I hear you asking the question, if Sami Zayn doesn't win, then who should be the one to beat Gunther? Who should be the one to dethrone him and win that Intercontinental Championship? So I have three picks. I have three people that I think should be the person to dethrone Gunther, and various pitches in how it should happen. First off, I think Chad Gable is probably like number one. He's had that story. He had those series of matches with Gunther. He's perfect to do this. He's the perfect person to run in there and tell an incredible story, finish his story, hug it out with his kids at ringside as he's holding the Intercontinental Championship. That seems like what they've set up. That seems like that story was set up, dropped, then it looked like we were getting back to it, and then Sami Zayn won the gauntlet. So I think Chad is definitely in that mix. Chad is near enough my number one pick. I think this should just be the way it is. He should just beat Gunther, not at WrestleMania, because I do actually think that Gunther should not lose the belt at WrestleMania. I think there's something to be said for streaks. I think Bianca Belair should be established as a WrestleMania streak. I think Gunther should be established as a WrestleMania streak, because then that gives you storyline oomph. That gives you storyline, what's the word I'm looking for? Projection, maybe? That you can have people with these credentials that don't need a belt. So you could have someone say, I'm going to be the first person to defeat you at WrestleMania, building up these streaks. Maybe not as legendary as The Undertaker's, of course. Maybe that can't be replicated, but I think there's something to be said for streaks in wrestling. So, with that out of the way, Chad Gable, probably my number one pick. Second pick, Sheamus. I do think that Sheamus is a credible contender. He's obviously deleted himself off Twitter, so I don't know what's going on there. We haven't seen him for a while. If he were to win the belt, I would like to see it be at Clash at the Castle 2 or something like that. Really run it back, really run back the feud, have him work his way through the rankings to get to Gunther. Maybe Sheamus wins Money in the Bank and decides to cash in on Gunther at a Clash in the Castle, Bash at Berlin, somewhere where the European fans can really get behind him and they can run back the magic that was their Clash at the Castle match. I think that would be spectacular. And obviously he's never won the belt. I think that would be great for Sheamus. And the final pick, I want this man to do well because I love this man. This man is one of my favourite wrestlers in the world right now. And I think Gunther's Intercontinental Championship reign could really make this man on the main roster, and that is Ilya Dragunov. I think there's so many ways you can pull an Ilya Dragunov beating Gunther win. You could have him come to the main roster as a new member of Imperium, have that dissension, the friction between the two, and then ultimately lead to an Ilya Gunther match for the belt, which Ilya wins. There's that way. My personal way, and this is the one that's going to get me some heat, probably some spicy takes, is I would have Gunther defeat Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Night after WrestleMania, open challenge from Gunther, says he's still fit. That wasn't a fight. That wasn't like the match is sacred, and I will compete, defend this Intercontinental Championship tonight. Ilya Dragunov answers the call and beats him. Same sort of way they did the Kevin Owens debut when he beat John Cena. You have Ilya not squash, have a very competitive match, but beat Gunther on his first night on the main roster. And then you can have Gunther take some time away, come back either into the world title scene or run a rematch back, and Ilya can be Ilya on the main roster. I think that's just the way I would go, because the way things are done in WWE, we haven't seen that in a while. We haven't seen someone come up from NXT and make a huge impact, a huge splash. I thought we were going to do that with Bron Breakker, and Bron Breakker, while having a good run, he's having a good run at the moment, hitting amazing spears on people. He's not been like established. Bringing Ilya up and having him beat Gunther there and then for the Intercontinental Championship would, it'd make him, essentially. It would really, really make him on the main roster and establish him as a top player on Raw. That would be my personal pitch, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think should beat Gunther? Do you think Sami Zayn should be the one? Do you think it should be Chad? Do you think it should be Sheamus? Do you think it should be Ilya? Who do you think should dethrone Gunther? And I'll try and reply to every single one of those comments. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.